See? I can be colorful if I have to. Hello world, my name is Matt Spa and I'm a photographer and video producer in Atlanta, Georgia. And while 18% gray is my favorite color, I recognize that color is a powerful component in video production and really in life in general. I'm also a guy who has a bit of a love-hate relationship with gear review videos, but I won't bore you with the details of that except to say that I prefer to review things that I feel like represent really good value or have some unique characteristic that I feel like is worth sharing. And the product I'm going to look at today checks both of those boxes. If you're new here, my channel dabbles in all things audio, video, and photo related. If you're into any of that, I hope you'll consider subscribing. The subject of this video is the Andoer MFP-07 LED light. Now there are a bazillion incarnations of these lights out there, but this one stood out to me for two reasons. One, it has a DC power output, so it can be used as a USB power bank. And second, it's $29 US. Let's take a look. In the box, you get some documentation, a swell bag, a cold shoe mount, a USB-A to C cable, and the light, complete with diffuser. It's powered by a built-in 3.7 volt, 4,500 milliamp lithium-ion battery, which in terms of amperage is more than my Sony-style NPF 750 batteries. I can actually run my Zoom F6 audio recorder off this thing for a pretty long time and have a night light to see what I'm doing while I'm doing it. And it will run off of DC power while it's charging the battery. So if your battery gets depleted on a shoot, you can plug it in and continue working while it recharges. A full charge takes just under 3 hours, and the company says that when the internal battery dies, they can replace it. They don't mention in the documentation anything about what that might cost, but the offer is at least there. And it's also a light. A surprisingly bright light. When our power went out, I set this thing at 1% of output power, and I could actually read a book in bed from the light that was bouncing off the ceiling. My go-to light has always been the Aputure F-7 for this form factor. It's extremely bright, definitely the brightest compact light that I've ever used, and I think it's still the brightest light on the market for less than $100. It is a great light, and if you don't have one, I recommend you get one. But it's bicolor only, and it requires an external battery that adds bulk and weight. Now before I go any further, I am not saying that these are commensurate light. This is not apples to apples. I'm just drawing some comparisons between the Andoer MFP-07 and this other light that I have a lot of experience with. The MFP-07, in addition to having a CCT mode that goes from 3000K to 5600K, is a full-on RGB light that covers all 360 degrees of the color spectrum in 1 degree increments. Saturation and intensity adjustment can be made in 1% increments, and there are some basic special effects built into it. It has an advertised CRI of 96 or greater, and will run for well over an hour at full output power. The info screen shows battery time remaining in hours and minutes, which makes me really happy because I don't have to do any kind of calculating while I'm standing there. It has 4 buttons along the top that give nice tactile positive feedback. The on-off switch also allows you to change modes, which are CCT, HSI, effects, preset colors, an SOS flash, and a CCT overclock mode, which increases the max brightness by 30%. The next 2 buttons are marked plus and minus and allow you to make parameter changes. And then the final button is marked set, and it allows you to navigate through the on-screen options within each mode. I was able to navigate through all of the options without ever having to look at the manual, but your mileage may vary depending on how intuitive you find this interface. There's no Bluetooth or Wi-Fi controls. You can't mesh a network or adjust multiple lights using mind control, but it's got a metal housing. It's got a single quarter 20 tap on the bottom. And did I mention that it's 29 bucks? The effects in here are kind of limited compared to other lights, but you do get cop car and lightning and party mode and campfire, and each effect has multiple versions which you can access using the set button. It doesn't come with any magnetic mounts, but I have double stick tape and magnets in my grip bag, so there's that. If I'm completely honest, I've never been into lights in this form factor. They just don't excite me. My little F-7 serves as a hair light or a rim light, and I use it from time to time as a fill light, but it's always been just a problem solver to me, not really a source of any creative inspiration. And maybe that's why I've largely ignored other lights like this, and the price tag that came with those lights didn't help. More popular lights of this kind were, $100 or more. I had a good, bright little light, and I was gonna let it shine, and I didn't see any real need to branch out from there. But I'm glad I did. In addition to being a very capable light source and USB power bank, it has opened up some new lighting possibilities for me, and that's a good thing. I like it so much that I have 2 more on the way, so for less than the price of one of its popular competitors, I've got 3 of these to not only solve some problems, but hopefully spark some creative ideas. If you're on the fence about buying this and you have the money, buy it. Buy 3, and let me know in the comments if it serves you well. That's really all I have for this one. I hope you enjoyed it and found it informative, and I thank you very much for watching.